What's up out there, YouTube? This is James coming back at you with another informative video. I hope you guys are doing well out there on this raining Monday. I'm doing pretty good myself. Hope you had a very nice, relaxing weekend. You know what I always say about that, even the long ones seem to go fast, but nevertheless, we back into Monday. Well, I got an update for a situation that took place in Kentucky on September 19th, where you had this situation with the district judge Kevin Mullins. He was 54 years old, and he was actually shot and killed by the sheriff of that particular county, Sheriff Sean Mickey Steins, who's 43 years old. Wow. The plot has thickened in this particular situation, people, and it just leaves, how can I say, an imagination as to how I'm sure a lot of corruption is going on in these different cities and towns. You know what I'm saying? Because, hey, we just never know a lot of the things that the judges, prosecutors, police departments and sheriffs and what have you are doing. But here in this situation right here, guess what? Well, everything's out in the open. Now it is alleged that, there was a lot of this place was just like the judge's chambers. The whole court was like a brothel, okay? And it was sex for favors, with the judge, the sheriff's deputies and what have you, a matter of fact, they nicknamed this situation sextortion. Yeah, sextortion. But it is alleged the reason why Sean Steins, the sheriff, actually shot and killed the district judge, is because he found out. It led him to believe, that the judge was having something to do with his, I think, 16, 17-year-old daughter. Okay? So he was thinking, he already know what's going on in this court behind closed doors and what have you, with women that will go to jail and will get, made a proposition. If you do this for that, I'll give you, that or whatever. You see what I mean? And so I guess the good old sheriff here said, so since my daughter's number is in your Rolodex, what you been doing with my daughter? You see what I mean? So, and here it is. This is the results of it. Very sad situation. But without further ado, let's check out this particular video right here, and then we'll have more, insight on the situation.
Before the United Healthcare CEO was gunned down on the streets of New York, the shooting that took our breath away was the killing of Judge Kevin Mullins right there in his own chambers. We know who fired those shots. It was on video right there. That was Sean Mickey Steins right there with the gun. He was the sheriff at that time of their rural Kentucky county. And he was also a close friend of the judge. And he's not a sheriff anymore. He's an inmate waiting for trial. But just like the CEO murder, the motive in the Judge Mullins case is a mystery, which means that the two men's long shared history has been under the microscope. And tonight, a gut punch of an exclusive to tell you about. It turns out there are recordings about the dead judge that tie him to some very dirty business in that county. A sex for favors scandal that sent a former deputy to jail and got the sheriff, who's now facing murder, sued in federal court. News Nation investigative producer Allison Weiner uncovered these recordings, and she joins me live now. You're such a great producer. I mean, we send you out to dig this stuff up, and then I have to have you on television to report it. What kind of a recording are we talking about, Allison?
Well, these are recordings from the criminal investigation into Deputy Fields, the guy that went to prison for the sex for favor scandal. And Deputy Fields was convicted of rape 3, sodomy, and also a perjury. So the recordings are from his victim. And she subsequently has filed the civil rights lawsuit in federal court. The victim is Sabrina Atkins, and she was interviewed by police about what had happened to her when she was an inmate in Fletcher County in Whitesburg. And that's where Sheriff Stein was working, and also where Ben Fields was working. And these recordings, I was listening to them, and I just sort of stopped and was like, I'm beginning to see that Sheriff Stein's life was coming apart, like sort of one thing, one block at a time, and this was not a good thing that I was listening to. And let's take a listen to it, and then we can talk about it.
He does have some videotapes of some stuff in the judge's chambers.
What kind of stuff?
Just with girls sexual and stuff.
What describe? Have you seen the videos?
I've seen one partly, just him having sex with girls for the baby to get out of jail.
Who was having sex?
Ben and just some higher ups up there.
Who?
The judge and.
You saw the video.
Yeah.
What did you see on the video? I mean,
I've seen Judge Mullins having sex with a girl.
Who was the girl?
I don't know. Because I don't know a lot of people from over there.
Where was it at?
In his office, in the judge's chambers.
Is that the same place that you were meeting Ben? Is that how you know it was the judge's chambers? And this was Judge who?
Mullins.
Allison, wow, that's pretty clear. That's her saying Judge Mullins was having sex with these people in his chambers, just like the other deputy. Here's the question I have, because it seemed to me that it became an open secret among female inmates that you can sleep your way out of jail because these men and these higher ups, not the ones necessarily on the screen, this is an allegation only, will have sex for these release favors.
That's correct. And by the way, the Sheriff Stein, denied during his deposition, which was a couple of days before the murder, that he had any idea that any of this was going on. But the fact is that the plaintiff in the lawsuit, again, Sabrina Atkins, said that she had heard rumors and that you could exchange sex for not having to wear your ankle bracelet. She didn't say that specifically, but for some favors. And that's exactly what ended up happening, because she couldn't afford to pay for the ankle bracelet. You have to pay for the ankle bracelet weekly. And those are the allegations in the civil lawsuit, that Sheriff Stein should have known or knew about what was happening with Ben Fields. And Sheriff Stein is the big name in that lawsuit. It's Sheriff Stein and unknown superiors and Ben Fields. So he was facing some heavy damages and the loss of his entire career based on this civil rights lawsuit. And frankly, the plaintiff's lawyers told me, Ned Pillersdorf has told me several times, because it's like they were running a brothel out of that courtroom.
Unbelievable. Well, I feel like it's just the tip of the iceberg, because there's still a lot more to connect Stein's allegedly murdering the judge based on what the judge maybe would have said to bring Stein's more into this picture. So you're invited back, anytime, just knock on the door and you're on. Allison Weiner, great.
Well, no, it wasn't in that particular clip right there where, it is alleged that the judge actually did this because he found the number of his daughter in the judge's, Rolodex some kind of way. But I did read that somewhere, and it stands to reason as to why he would be so angry if that were the case. You know what I'm saying? Being that he already know what's going on, in this office, this court office, the judge's chambers and what have you. And I guess he would fly into a rage, and feel justified to carry out the crime that he did to the judge. But nevertheless, I don't think that would be a good deal to do, a good situation, to be in, because it takes two to tango. You see what I mean? And if his daughter, if this is true, this is alleged, if his daughter, was involved in this particular situation right here, she could have easily opted out and said no, talk to her father about it, what have you, Now, this sheriff here is actually pleading not guilty. I don't understand how he could not be guilty when he's right here on camera, carrying out, this act right here. He can't say he was not guilty. I mean, here's the proof and evidence, But it's the reason why he did it, the motive behind it. That's the whole entire situation. So basically, when it's all said and done, we can say that this judge and the sheriff was actually partners in crime, and something went wrong, and a bad situation occurred thereafter. You know, like I said, this only shows what goes on behind the closed doors in these counties, in these cities, you know, in these states. Corruption is at an all-time high level. You see, regardless of how, you know, gallant they walk around, you know, with the little judge robe on and the police uniforms, badges, and what have you, like they are, you know, the poster children for laws and justice and righteousness. You know what I mean? Whether or not, and this case proves it. You understand? That's just what it is. That's all I got on this one, people. I want you guys to tell me what you think about this particular case right here. I'm interested in hearing your thoughts on it in the comment section. Make sure you like and subscribe. Share the video if you can. And people, please remember to live your life as though we are being watched. Simply because we are. This is James, and I'm out. Peace.